So today we're gonna talk about a kind of different looking plant, kind of unusual looking, pretty much different than any other plant out there for aquariums. And I'll be honest, I don't know how to pronounce it. Crinum, I'm guessing, but there's kind of it's obviously gonna be in the title, but I don't know how much it's gonna focus. But it's basically scientific, and it basically looks like this. It's a very big plant, but it's also easy. And obviously, just like you see in the picture, it will actually curl up like that. It's a very curly plant. And they come from, this plant's mostly from, from places like Africa and stuff like that, more of the countries over there. But the thing that makes this plant different is it doesn't have like a rhizome or, it actually has, and here's a picture right here. It's all, if you ever seen an onion and you pulled it out of the ground, I and you've seen what it looks like, that's basically kind of like what this plant looks like, but it's obviously not an onion. It'll basically look like this, and obviously of course, bury this. It's not like a plant that you just let. It's not like Nubius or Java Fern. You can just stick it on a piece of stick, which you probably could, but this plant does need nutrients, so you're probably gonna need to bury it in substrate. But what they call that is a bulb or onion, and basically hence the name because it looks like it basically is like an onion. But this is a very slow growing plant. It's not very fast at all. I mean, really, if you look at any beginner plant or very easy plant, no easy plant really grows that fast. To be honest, there's actually some, but it seems like they're kind of a pattern with beginner plants. They always grow slow, or really not really beginner, but easy plants. And when I said they get pretty big, they can get 20 to 30 inches, which is about as big, which is, well, basically as tall as any aquarium will ever get. Probably that you'll ever have. But, like most 3 4 gallons, they're basically 25 30 inches tall. That's about as big as some people ever get, so this thing can definitely grow to the top of your tank easily. And if you actually seen Aquarium Co-op during his live streams or even a lot of his videos, I don't know if he still has it, but his goldfish tank, 300 gallon, whatever it is, he actually had this plant in there. I don't know if it's the same species as the one I'm talking about in this video, but this is, if you look at his videos, that's basically the plant he has. Everybody always asks what plant it was, and that's what it is. His actually grew to the very top, so he had his growing, and it just basically curls and it eventually just all floats to the top because you got so much in there. But when it comes to lighting, obviously, so when it comes to lighting, you really don't need much. You definitely need light, but you don't need a lot. Just like, any Nubius, Java Fern, Crips, any of those. They, you need some light. Like, my light is probably, you know, mine's up there with high tech, but it's not high tech at all, really. But it's up there with, how good it is. Or at least how much power it puts up. Not really how good, but really, if you just have any normal lights that just come with a tank, it'll do just fine. Obviously, if you have something like a Phoenix or a Fluval or what is it called, any of those, it might help the plant a little better, but you might have the chance of melting or burning the plant. Not really burning, but you know what I'm talking about. When the plant turns brown or even black, and it's basically meaning you have too much light. And that's kind of what happened to my Java Fern one time. I really doubt that I didn't think my light was too strong, but I guess it kind of was. My one piece of my Java Fern actually kind of burned, or at least melted, not really burned. It's not really the right term to call it that, but CO CO2, you don't need it. If you do have it, you don't need it's you'll need you don't have to put that much in it unless you have obviously other plants with it. But for any plant, CO2, if you have CO2, then it don't matter. It's not like it's gonna kill the plant. CO2 won't kill any plants. It's just like if you have it, great. If you don't, it you still do good, but obviously CO2 always does better if with any plant. So that's kind of that. But another cool thing about this plant that it can be in brackish water. I know some plants, or really a lot of plants, don't do well in brackish water. This plant will. It'll do just fine. Um, and it'll actually grow in a little bit of the salt. So if you have like cichlids, I know sometimes they put a little bit of salt in there, or really some fish they put a little bit of salt. It'll do just fine. I know some plants they just some of these things they just can't do, and they'll end up dying or rotting away. So this plant's very hardy. I mean, you could probably throw it in a saltwater tank and it'd live probably. Not saying to try that, but it was just saying it probably that's probably how hardy this plant is. It'll just grow in anything as long as it has water. But yeah, like in this plant, you're mostly gonna buy it potted, which just means obviously there's tissue cultured and or you just buy a plant itself with nothing in it. It's just a plant, kind of like how a lot of people ship their plants, or you get it in a pot, which is just a black little container. And usually you'll buy this in a plot, and usually the stems are maybe 6 inches, 5 inches when you buy them, depending on who you buy it from. But you're probably gonna pay around $7, $8, $10. Not very expensive plant, just because not a lot of people buy it, just because it is kind of weird looking. Depending on your setup, this plant really won't look good in a lot of tanks. But I guess some more pictures here a little bit. Autofocus. A little bit of pictures here, just yeah, like this is what I'm talking about here. See how it kind of dangles, so it's kind of hard to use this plant really unless it's in water. It'll just dangle down. So but yeah, you can see how long all this gets. It just gets a big jungle mess. But not a plant I would honestly have, but I know a lot of people would be really cool. Like, and they could take a beating. Like, um, if you have cichlids that will dig up plants and eat them, this plant will do just fine. So you're if you want a plant that like I know a lot of people that have cichlids always ask what plants can do well with cichlids because cichlids always tear up plants and dig up the substrate. This plant would be a great one. There's others out there. I'm kind of blanking out right now, but this plant will go good with anything that nips plants. It could take a little bit of a beating, but yeah, that's basically this plant. I know it's kind of didn't know what, losing my mind. Can't really think. I was trying to talk and blanking out on some of the information, but try to do my best to talk about as much as I can. Forget a couple things, so if I paused a little bit during the video, that's why. I know sometimes I look dumb sometimes talking about plants and stuff, or really anything. I kind of blank out for a second and try to remember what I was talking about. But yeah, if you have any recommendations for next week's plant, or you want to recommend a fish for Wednesday, or if you got an idea for another top 5, because we will still do that if somebody does want to do it or recommend anything, definitely put that in the comments. Or if you want to see anything, you want me to make a video just for you of something that you want to see, and a certain thing that you want to see, definitely put that in the comments. And yeah, that's basically it. So comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one.